Hi everybody, it's Deborah. So today I'm in my shower and I am going to do some tile repair, or grout repair actually. And I've been having a problem with some of the grout that's cracking, and let me show you. Okay, so let me show you what exactly I'm talking about. So this right here is the edge of the shower. This is the glass here. And so of course water comes down, and then this little ledge here, this little half wall. And so this little lip here, this is where the grout is. So this is the grout, and then this is where I have removed the grout right here. And so I've had to take it was cracking, and then this right here was this is right here is where it started, and then it just ran all the way down, and then as water just kept on going in here, it became, the crack just became worse and worse. And it actually started going down the side. So you can see it here. I cleaned this out, and let me show you so you can kind of see I've made this relatively deep, because I'm going to want enough of the grout to go in there and make a good seal. So as I was working, this area here popped off, and so I just wanted to show you this right here is the cement board. So luckily the persons that designed this shower used the cement board like they're supposed to. And so although water was getting in here, I'm not having to deal with mold and rot, because this material, I just had to let it dry. So I've had a little heater in here, and I'm like letting this dry out here. So now I don't have any moisture on here, but this, luckily, like I said, this right here, this material is a cement, so it doesn't rot. This could have been a disaster had they used 2x4s and drywall here. So this it has a little bit of thin set here, and so I'm gonna have to chisel this out, and I'm gonna, this right here is the piece that goes there. So I'm gonna chisel out that old, chisel off this old grout here, and then just replace this tile. There's nothing wrong with this tile other than it just needs to be cleaned off. So the other thing that there was, I've cleaned out some other areas where there were some cracks, and this right here is where the builder had it a little bit too tight, and so the grout wasn't inside here. It was just kind of like on the edge here. So I'm gonna like really push some grout into this crevice here so that it won't crack again. And then on the same side, the same thing happened here. Is where they butt really close, and you just have to get the grout in there as best you can. And it's better to have just a little bit bigger of a gap here than having this little hairline gap, because the grout just definitely plays a big part in keeping your shower, keeping the shower integrity and the tiles, keeping it dry. And so let me show you the tool that I used. Okay, so this is the tool I used, and this right here is totally designed for, let me get it so you can see it. So this is totally designed here for tile work and grout. It's not designed to cut through tile, it's just designed to cut through the grout. And so it has a very abrasive, like very abrasive bit here. And so this tool here just vibrates and cuts right through, really makes the job easy. You can do all of this by hand. There is another little hand tool that you could be scraping, scraping out the grout. But if you can afford it, this tool here is well worth it to make this job easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to take the extra tile to the studio and clean that up, and then I'm going to create. All right, so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to clean this up here and chisel this thin set out, and then I'm going to clean this up, and then once I get that done, what I'll do is I'll make a bucket of grout and I'll re-grout this shower, and this project will be done. So the hardest part was actually just getting all of the cracks and all the grout out, but the grouting should be relatively easy. All right, so I'll show you that when I get to it. All right, have a great day. Okay, so I got the thin set made here, and when you make thin set, this is just enough for this tile here, and that's all I really need. But so when you make your thin set, you want to just make it into like a creamy peanut butter consistency, and then you want to let it rest, or let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. And what that's going to do is it's going to activate all of its ingredients, and so it should become a little bit more sticky, and it should become well glutenized. I don't know how else to say it, but you can kind of see here it's really, really creamy. And I got the lumps out of it. And so let me show you when you're putting this on here. And this is, all right, let me see if I can do this. Okay, so I'm holding this phone up. Let me see here if I can do this. Actually, let's. Okay, so I just had to readjust the phone so that you could see what I was doing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to butter this up, this whole thing up here, and I'm making the edge, and so it's going to be thicker in the middle, and then the edge is going to be I'm kind of scraping it to the side here and keeping it nice and clean on the sides. Okay. And the whole thing needs to be buttered. And so there's a nice angle at the sides here. Okay. And I keep on going here. And I did scrape off all of the old thin set, and then got rid of, there was still some grout on this tile. So I cleaned that all up. Alright. And you can see here. And because I'm using, this right here is just a painter's knife. And the reason I'm just using this is because this job is very, very small. So there's no reason to get out a bunch of tools that are designed for this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have some in the middle. Okay. All right, now. So you don't need it, you're going to create some grooves in here. So I have this, the sides are angled. So you can see I'm scraping this at the sides. Sides are angled like this. And that way it doesn't squeeze out so much. And then I'm scraping and creating some grooves in the center. So what that does is it creates some air pockets, and it'll make a nice suction when I put this on the wall. All right, so let me see here, and I'm going to, let's see if I can move this to, so you can see. Yeah, okay. All right, and I'm going to put this on here. All right, and okay, I'm gonna just hold this now, and then I'm going to have to let you go so that I can seat this in. Okay, so I got this on here, and just took a second or two, and I just pushed it down and created that suction, like I said. And then there was a little bit of thin set that kind of oozed into my grout line, and so I cleaned that up. And right now I'm just using a piece of toilet paper, but yeah, usually if this was a bigger job, you would have an actual sponge, and so, but since this is just a tiny job, I can just use a little bit of toilet paper here and just clean this up. All right, and you're gonna want this to dry thoroughly. And let's see here, just kind of tiny move, because I can see it was just a little not even right there. Okay, so now I got it perfect, and you don't want to move it around too much because you'll break the seal. And so now I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'm gonna create my grout, and we're gonna get to grouting. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm ready to grout now, and so I've made this bucket of grout. Here we go. All right, when you make the grout, it will be kind of like a thick peanut butter. It was actually a little bit thinner than this, and then what you have to do is you let it sit for a while, for about 5 minutes, and for it to get to a nice consistency that is almost a little bit like, you know, you can kind of see where you can make peaks, and it doesn't have much of a droop. So you don't want it to, this is kind of tricky because you don't want it to sit too long, because then it becomes too dry. So anyway, so I can't talk about this too long because right now I'm in perfect stage and I need to start grouting. So I'm going to start with these cracks here. And again, there's like usually like there's a float that you would go by angles, and you go like this and you would get the grout into your lines. But because of the areas that I'm talking about that need to be regrouted, they're so thin and small, I'm actually going to be using this other sculptural tool here, and mostly my fingers, and I'm going to be shoving it in there. And then once I have it, then I will take a sponge, and this is my sponge water here, and this kind of sponge here is the best. So it's you can purchase it, and it's a little bit bigger. It's usually it's at Home Depot in the tile department. And the other times that you would see a sponge like this is probably washing your car. But I've cut this in half to make it just the right, because again, this job is really small. So I'm just gonna be able to go like this and clean it up. So it's really important that you clean the grout off of the tiles, because if you let it dry on there, then you've just made yourself way too much work. So let me let you go, and I'll show you the end product. Okay, everybody, so I just finished grouting, and let me just show you how nice it looks. So, all right, so at this point, let's see if you can see, like right here. All right, so there's going to be some hazing, but I have all of the grout off of the tiles. And at this point, the hazing, I'm gonna let this dry some more, and then the hazing, I should be able to, I've already sponged it off once, but it'll have one more. So you put the grout on, and then you clean it up, and then it'll do a heavy hazing, and then you just wipe that up with your damp sponge. And then now at this point, it'll do a light hazing, and I can just, I could literally use a dry rag and just take the hazing off. So I'm not going to use this shower for a whole nother day. And then I'm going to have to come in here and clean the glass and some other details here. But I hope this video was helpful, and I look forward to getting back into my shower. All right, have a lovely day, and stay tuned for